Hello students, today we're going to be going over some big ideas and some core tasks, some things that we need to be familiar with, and some other understandings that are involved with informational writing. So I'm briefly going to go over some of those things that I think are really important as it concerns with informational writing, and some things that I want you all to be aware of. So when I'm going over these portions or concepts of informational writing, I'm also going to be modeling informational writing. So I want you to analyze this video as if it were a text, and if it were a written text and I were presenting it as if it were information. So not only am I going to be giving you guys the information that is necessary for the informational writing, but I'm also going to try to model some things that I'm telling you about. So some of the first big idea is that informal writing is shaped through specific structure and word choice in order to establish a powerful and credible voice. Okay, so by that I mean there's specific language that is related to informational writing. You want to be clear, concise, and concrete. I'm trying to model that right now with my tone, with my voice, and with my pacing. Specifically with my pacing, I'm trying to make sure that the information comes across clearly, that you all viewing this video have enough time to hear what I'm saying and think about it and process it as I'm going along through this short video. Okay. The next portion or big idea of informational writing is that topics must be reinforced with information from reliable, credible outside sources. I'm going to model this by saying I've taken these big ideas. How I've gotten these big ideas out of informational writing and where I'm pulling this information from is not from my head. It's actually from the State Common Core standards. So I'm taking the state's Common Core standards and I'm going to break them down. I'm cross-referencing them with a lot of the lessons that I've been taught at school in preparation for this, as well as some of the books and theorists that I've read. And I've kind of formulated a list of framework, a higher prioritizing framework of what is important for informational writing. And so that I like to think that I used some credible sources, or I did use credible sources in also relaying this information. So like I said, we're thinking about this as I'm telling you what's important for informational writing, but as well as I'm modeling through this presentation what I did to inform you. The final big idea is that power is developed through establishing an academic voice intertwined with research and paragraph structure. Okay, and by this I mean there's a specific formula that we want to follow with informational writing. We want to introduce the topic, we want to inform, and then inform with a purpose. Now, there's always an audience and a target audience for what we're trying to do. In this video, you, the students, are the target audience, and therefore I am introducing you to informational writing, and now I am telling you the major components. Just as you would introduce the audience into a topic that you're writing about, and then you would start giving the information from there on out to reinforce what you're trying to say. Okay, so just to wrap up, I'm going to go over a couple important things that you should know. Not necessarily as important as those big tasks, but definitely things that you want to be aware of. So you definitely want to know how to organize text and information using graphic organizers and demonstrating academic choice. And by that I mean I want us to have to be able to make choices. You know, where does this information go and why? And where does it not go? Why do I include this? When do I decide to paraphrase? When do I decide to quote? These are all things that you need to think about academic choice as it relates to your paper. Now, I've done the same thing for this presentation. There's a lot of things I could have included in talking about informational writing, but I felt that I wanted to only get the most important parts, the parts that would resonate the most with you all, so that way this video could be short and yet effective. So that's me demonstrating, modeling academic choice in regards to informational writing. You need to know how to quote and paraphrase and cite outside resources. So that's pretty self-explanatory. What I really want us to focus on in that specific point is what is a credible resource. So like I was saying, I've gotten this information from theorists that I've read, from the State Common Core standards, as well as professors that I've had when I was in college. Those are all credible resources. They have credibility because of their authors, because of their publication, and because of their content matter. So these are all things that I want us to think about when we're deciding what's a credible resource for our research project, or information writing project, excuse me. And finally, we want to be aware of transitional words and phrases and how we can move from one portion of a paper to another. So I didn't do a great job in this video of modeling that. I did say we were working on big ideas and then moved into things that we also want to be aware of. That would be a transitional phrase. I started this point off by saying finally. That's another transitional phrase. But these are all things that we want to really be aware of when we are talking about informational writing. And finally, I would like to say, for the students, think about my video right now as a text and an informational writing, and what that says about how it can be analyzed. And we can go through and look at this video from the big idea and core understandings of informational writing, and we can critique and see where I did well and see where I didn't. Okay.